The galaxy was loud with rumors, but none louder than the news coming from the great throne world of Valcor. Every species talked about the same thing, the same fear, the same mystery that no one wanted to face. The alien emperor of Valcor had issued a challenge to every warrior in the galaxy. He stood tall in front of billions and declared that his only daughter, Princess Celira, was ready for marriage. But she was no ordinary daughter, no calm royal princess hidden behind silk curtains. She was the most dangerous warrior ever born among the Valcorians, a race famous for strength that could bend metal and tear starships open with their bare claws. Celira could defeat 10 trained soldiers before breakfast, and 20 before evening. Her beauty was stunning, but her power made armies tremble. This was the reason no alien dared to step forward when the emperor announced the royal marriage trial. No one wanted to marry a woman who could crush you with one hand if you made her angry. The emperor's voice echoed across the galaxies as he shouted, "Who dares marry my daughter?" Silence answered him. A heavy, painful silence. Not a single warrior from a single alien race moved forward. Not the proud Dravic clans, known for their brutal strength. Not the telepathic Karen, who claimed to be the most evolved species. Not the Earthian knights, who loved battle more than life itself. Everyone stepped back because everyone feared Celira. Everyone except one species that the galaxy still underestimated. Humans from Earth. On the far side of the council hall, a small group of humans watched the event quietly. Most aliens ignored them because humans were still considered new, still weak, still unimportant. No one expected anything from them. No one believed Earth could offer anything impressive. But among the humans stood Captain Orion Hale, a young officer with calm eyes and a strange courage that even his own team did not understand. While everyone else avoided the Emperor's gaze, Orion stepped forward. His boots echoed across the polished floor, and the entire crowd turned as if a tiny insect had suddenly challenged a giant. The Emperor narrowed his eyes, shocked that a human dared walk toward him. "State your purpose, human," he growled, his voice shaking the hall like thunder. Orion did not kneel or bow, he simply stood tall. "I accept the marriage challenge," he said calmly. Gasps broke through the hall, aliens whispering in disbelief. Some even laughed because they thought it was a joke. But Orion's face stayed serious, and his voice did not shake. He meant every word. Princess Celira rose from her seat, her armored form shining under the council lights. She was tall, almost twice the height of the human captain, with silver markings glowing across her skin like living lightning. Every step she took made warriors step back, but Orion did not move. He kept his eyes forward, respectful but not afraid. For the first time in her life, Celira saw someone who did not tremble in her presence. She studied him like a scientist studies an unknown creature, curious and confused. The Emperor slammed his staff on the ground, sending a wave of energy across the hall. "Human, do you understand what you are claiming?" he demanded. "What awaits you is not romance, it is a trial that has killed warriors stronger than you." "I understand," Orion replied, his voice steady like steel. "I am not here for power or reward, I am here because I believe courage is not measured by size or species." This answer surprised everyone, including Celira. No alien had ever spoken to the Emperor with such grace, confidence, and honesty. The hall trembled again as the Emperor spoke. "Very well, human, the trial begins at dawn. If you survive, you may marry my daughter. If you fail, your bones will lie in the trial pit forever." When the humans returned to their quarters, Orion's crew surrounded him with questions. "Sir, why did you do that? Are you insane?" "Captain, she could break you in half." But Orion simply smiled and said, "Every species fears her strength, but no one has tried to understand her heart." The crew fell silent, because no one expected the captain to say something like that. They knew he wasn't a fool, he was a strategist, a thinker, a quiet warrior who always saw things others couldn't. Meanwhile, in her own chambers, Princess Celira stared out of her window overlooking the twin moons of Valcor. She replayed the moment the human stepped forward. She had seen thousands of warriors kneel before her father, but none had looked her in the eyes with such calm bravery. Why would a human accept this challenge, she whispered to herself. For the first time, she felt something new, something strange, something she had never experienced before. Curiosity mixed with a soft warmth inside her chest. A feeling she did not understand yet. As dawn approached, the trial pits awakened with roaring flames and shifting metal walls. Thousands gathered to watch the human's fate. Many expected him to die within minutes. But Princess Celira stood above the arena, her glowing eyes locked onto the human who dared claim her future. Orion stepped into the arena with steady breath, knowing the entire galaxy watched him. The trial would begin in moments. And this was only the beginning. The trial pits of Valcor were known across the galaxy as the arena where courage went to die. No warrior had ever completed all 3 stages, and the bones of the fallen were buried beneath the steel floors, quiet reminders of proud fighters who underestimated the challenge. As the twin suns of Valcor rose above the crimson sky, the crowd filled the gigantic arena, chanting for blood, calling for spectacle, waiting for the human to fail quickly. They believed this would be the shortest trial in the last century. After all, humans were seen as fragile, soft, untrained for alien-level combat. But today, the galaxy would learn something different. Captain Orion Hale stepped into the arena with slow, controlled breaths. His armor was light, built for mobility, not brute strength, because he knew he could not win with power alone. He carried no glowing weapon, no heavy blade, only a simple reinforced staff. Every alien competitor before him came armed with advanced gear, yet none survived. He wanted to show the galaxy that humans fought not with muscles but with strategy and heart. From the royal balcony, Princess Celira watched the human enter. Her expression was unreadable, her glowing silver eyes fixed on Orion like she was trying to understand every tiny movement. For reasons she could not explain, she felt a strange tension inside her chest. A feeling she had never known, something close to hope mixed with fear. The Emperor raised his staff, and the arena fell silent. "Let the human face the first trial," he declared. The ground trembled as giant steel gates opened, releasing a massive creature known as a Vornak beast. It had 6 legs, razor claws, thick armored skin, and a mouth filled with burning plasma. The crowd cheered wildly, expecting the human to scream and run. Instead, Orion only tightened his grip on his staff and whispered, "Focus." The Vornak charged like a living meteor, shaking the arena floor. Its roar echoed through the metal walls, and many spectators covered their ears. Orion did not run, he rolled to the side, letting the creature's claws slice through empty air. Instead of attacking blindly, he observed its movement, its breathing, the slight delay between its steps. He saw patterns, weaknesses, timing windows that stronger warriors always ignored. Humans survived on Earth for thousands of years not because they were the strongest, but because they adapted. While everyone expected a brutal fight, Orion performed with calm precision. He let the Vornak attack again, then jammed his staff between its claws, twisting sharply. The beast stumbled, confused that something so small could disrupt its balance. The audience gasped as Orion leaped onto its back, driving his staff into the joint between its armored plates. It roared in pain but collapsed seconds later, unable to continue the fight. A silence fell across the arena, a heavy disbelief as the giant creature lay defeated. The announcers said nothing, the crowd stopped cheering, and the Emperor sat straighter. Princess Celira's eyes widened slightly, the first hint of surprise breaking through her usual calm. Orion stepped away from the fallen beast, breathing slowly, his face calm and focused. He didn't celebrate or smile, he simply prepared for the next stage. The Emperor struck the ground again, his voice louder than before. "Let the human face the second trial." The air shimmered as dozens of hovering drones emerged from hidden compartments in the arena walls. They were fast, armed with energy blasts, and programmed to hunt down any challenger with perfect accuracy. Many past warriors died in this stage, overwhelmed by speed and precision. Orion knew he couldn't outrun the drones, so he relied on timing. When the first volley of energy shots fired, he slid behind the fallen Vornak, using its body as a shield. The drones redirected, circling like deadly birds of prey, firing from all angles. Orion used the limited smoke from the Vornak's leaking plasma to mask his movement. He sprinted toward the metal pillars in the center of the arena, zigzagging to disrupt their aim. The drones chased him ruthlessly, firing non-stop. But with each shot, Orion learned their rhythm, their firing sequence, their turning speed. He leaped onto a pillar, then propelled himself off with a kick, spinning midair. Using the momentum, he swung his staff and smashed the first drone into sparks. The crowd gasped again, because they never expected the weak human to take down something so advanced. Orion moved like flowing water, unpredictable and fast. One by one, drones exploded into fragments, scattering across the arena floor. Finally, the last drone fell, and the crowd rose to their feet, not cheering, but whispering in awe. The Emperor leaned forward, his expression shifting. For the first time, he saw the human not as prey but as a real warrior. Princess Celira watched with a strange warmth in her chest. Something she had felt only during the rare moments she respected another fighter. She whispered to herself, "This man is not afraid of anything." But the third trial was still waiting. The deadliest one, the one that no living warrior had ever passed. The Emperor lifted his staff higher, and lightning cracked across the sky. "Prepare the final challenge," he commanded. The arena floor began to shift, metal plates reconfiguring into a maze of glowing traps and shifting walls. At the center of the maze waited something far more dangerous than a beast or a drone. A creature known only as the Seraph Guardian, the sacred protector of Valkor. A being so powerful that even Princess Celira had never defeated it. Orion watched the maze form around him. He knew this final trial would push him beyond strength, beyond strategy, beyond fear. He took a deep breath and whispered, "I came this far, I won't stop now." Princess Celira leaned closer to the edge of the balcony, feeling her heart beat faster than ever. For the first time, she worried for someone's safety. And that someone was the human who dared step forward for her. The final trial was about to begin. And the galaxy held its breath. The arena changed shape like a living machine, metal walls rising and falling, forming a twisting maze of danger. Sharp pillars slid out from the ground, glowing traps activated with deadly blue energy, and narrow corridors shifted under Orion's feet like moving puzzle pieces. The spectators held their breath because they knew this stage, the third trial, had ended the lives of warriors far stronger than the human captain. From the royal balcony, Princess Celira stood frozen, her silver eyes locked onto the maze. Even she had never attempted this trial, because the creature that guarded its center was a nightmare even for the Valkorian elite. The Emperor raised his staff and thunder echoed across the arena. "Release the Seraph Guardian," he commanded. For a moment, everything went silent, as if the world itself feared what was coming. Then the air cracked with light and a massive figure rose from beneath the floor, its wings unfolding like burning steel. The Seraph Guardian stood 3 times taller than Orion, its armor made of living energy, its eyes glowing with ancient intelligence. It was not a beast, not a drone, but a machine fused with spirit, an ancient protector created thousands of years ago to judge courage and purity. Only a true warrior could withstand its presence for more than a minute. Orion stared at the towering creature as it stepped into the maze, its wings sending sparks across the walls. He felt pressure on his chest, as if the air itself had become heavier. Every instinct told him to run, but he stood still, grounding himself, understanding that fear was exactly what the Guardian preyed on. Instead of panicking, he studied the maze, the traps, and the movement of the Guardian. He whispered to himself, "No brute force, only strategy." The Guardian's first attack came with blinding speed. It unleashed a wave of energy that burned through the metal floor, sending shockwaves racing in all directions. Orion dove behind a shifting wall just in time, the blast passing inches from him, melting steel like butter. The crowd gasped, amazed a human survived the first strike. Orion sprinted deeper into the maze as the walls rearranged around him, creating a labyrinth designed to confuse and trap challengers. The Guardian followed silently, its wings gliding without sound, its presence like a dark sun ready to swallow him. Every corner he turned, every step he took, traps activated, firing beams of energy or dropping explosive charges. But Orion stayed calm, using his agility and awareness to dodge everything with precise timing. He wasn't fighting the maze, he was studying it, seeing patterns in its movement just like he did with the drones. From the balcony, Princess Celira whispered, "He thinks like a Valkorian strategist." She felt something dangerous growing inside her, a soft admiration she had never felt for any warrior before. She watched the human with a mixture of awe and fear, not for herself, but for him. She did not want him to die, a thought she never expected to have about anyone. The Guardian leaped forward, its massive wings folding around its body like a spear. It charged toward Orion with unstoppable force, smashing through walls as if they were paper. Orion braced himself as the creature struck the ground, shockwaves blasting outward. He was thrown back, rolling across the steel floor, his body aching with impact. But he refused to stay down, pushing himself up despite the burns on his arms. The Guardian opened its wings again, revealing dozens of glowing symbols across its armor. Orion recognized a pattern, the symbols charged in a predictable sequence before releasing energy. He memorized them quickly, seeing a rhythm that others never noticed. When the Guardian fired again, Orion was already moving, weaving between blasts with perfect anticipation. The Emperor leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. He was witnessing something impossible. A human reading the attack patterns of an ancient weapon that even Valkorian elites failed to decode. The Guardian grew frustrated, its attacks becoming faster, stronger, more chaotic. The maze shifted at high speed, trying to trap Orion in a dead end. He reached a corner where the walls closed in behind him, sealing him inside a narrow space. The Guardian appeared above him, wings spread like the shadow of judgment. The crowd believed this was the end. Orion looked up calmly and whispered, "If I can't outrun it, I must outthink it." He slammed his staff into the ground, using it as a pole to launch himself upward. In one fluid motion, he grabbed the Guardian's wing joint, the only unarmored spot he had seen earlier. The Guardian roared as Orion used his entire body weight to twist its wing, forcing the massive creature to lose balance. It crashed into the maze wall, the impact sending cracks of energy across the arena. Orion landed on the Guardian's back, gripping its armor tightly. Using the patterns he memorized, he struck the correct symbols in the correct order. Each strike dimmed the Guardian's glowing armor a little more. Finally, with one final blow, the symbols all went dark. The Guardian let out a low, fading roar before collapsing into silence. The arena erupted in shock, the impossible had happened. A human had defeated the Seraph Guardian. Princess Celira's breath caught in her throat. Something warm and powerful spread through her chest. This human did not fight like others, did not boast, did not tremble, he simply believed in himself. She felt respect, admiration, and something deeper, something she was not ready to name. The Emperor stood slowly, staring down at the human with a new expression. Not anger, not disbelief, but recognition. He raised his staff and declared, "The human has passed all trials. And now, he has earned the right to stand before my daughter." The arena roared, the galaxy shaken. And Orion Hale, the lone human who dared to step forward, was now summoned to meet the alien princess whose fate he had just rewritten. The roar of the arena faded slowly as the giant maze lowered back into the ground. The metal plates slid away, revealing Captain Orion Hale standing in the center, his armor dented and scorched, but his posture calm and unbroken. The galaxy had just witnessed the impossible. A human, a species mocked for weakness, had defeated the legendary Seraph Guardian. And now, every alien in the colossal stadium stared at him with new eyes, eyes filled with respect, fear, and disbelief. Princess Celira stepped away from the balcony railing, her heart pounding in a way she had never felt before. For the first time in her life, she felt unsure, not of her own strength, but of the strange human who had changed the fate of her entire race with courage alone. She walked down toward the throne level, her armor glowing softly as she approached her father. The emperor watched her with a complex mix of emotion, pride, confusion, and something he had not felt in centuries. He whispered, "Daughter, this human, he is not ordinary." Celira replied quietly, "No, father, he is not ordinary at all." The emperor raised his staff once more, and the arena fell silent. "Human Orion hail," he declared, "you have passed all 3 trials, trials that no alien warrior has endured. You now have the right to stand before Princess Celira." The ground beneath Orion shimmered as a platform rose, lifting him smoothly toward the throne level. Every alien watched as the small human ascended, rising like a symbol of defiance against everything they believed about Earth. When Orion stepped off the platform, he found himself only a few steps away from Princess Celira. For the first time, they met face to face without walls, creatures, or trials between them. Celira studied him carefully, her glowing silver eyes scanning his face, his posture, the calm confidence that never wavered. He looked up at her, not intimidated by her height or her power, but respectful, sincere, steady. She spoke first, her voice low and powerful. "You faced death 3 times and did not tremble. What drives a human to such courage?" Orion smiled softly, not with arrogance, but with honesty. "I did not come here to show strength," he answered calmly. "I came here because I believe every person deserves to be seen for who they truly are, not for the fear others feel." Celira blinked, surprised by the depth of his answer. She had expected pride, ambition, maybe even lust for power, but she found none of that in him. Instead, she found something rare, clarity, sincerity, and a strange warmth she never knew she wanted. The emperor stepped closer, swirling his heavy cloak behind him. "Human," he said, "you have proven yourself worthy by tradition. But marriage to my daughter is not only a reward. It is a duty, a responsibility, a lifetime bond with our royal bloodline. Do you understand this?" Orion met the emperor's intense gaze without fear. "I understand," he replied, "and I do not take it lightly. But I also know something else. What your daughter deserves is not someone who fears her power, but someone who respects her spirit." Celira's chest tightened at his words. No one had ever spoken about her spirit, her heart, her identity. Everyone only saw her as a weapon, a warrior, a symbol of power. But this small human saw her as a person. Something inside her shifted, something she had spent her entire life suppressing. A soft emotion, dangerous and warm, growing slowly but surely. Before the emperor could speak again, a loud metallic echo burst from the far end of the stadium. Elite guards rushed into the throne level, their armor flashing with warning symbols. They bowed urgently and announced, "Your Majesty, the Council of 7 is demanding immediate communication. It concerns the human." The emperor's face hardened. Of course, the galaxy would not accept this outcome easily. The Council of 7, the most powerful alliance of alien races, had long despised Earth's rising potential. They would never allow a human to marry into the Valkorian royal family without a fight. The emperor turned to Orion. "Human, the political storm your victory has created is larger than you realize. Your courage has changed the balance of power across the stars." Orion nodded, understanding the gravity. He had expected conflict, but not this quickly. Princess Celira stepped forward suddenly, her tall frame casting a long shadow over the marble floor. She faced her father firmly. "Father," she said, "if the council challenges this decision, then I will stand with the human." Gasps spread across the royal chamber. No one, had ever heard Celira publicly oppose her father's political stance. The emperor stared at her in shock and whispered, "Celira, you would risk war for this human?" She did not look away. "He earned his place," she said softly. And I will not let anyone decide my future except me. Orion felt a strange warmth rise inside him. Not pride, not victory, something more human, more emotional. Respect, admiration, and a silent promise to himself that he would not allow her courage to be wasted. The royal chamber trembled again as another alert sounded. The Council of Seven had issued a threat. If the marriage proceeded, Earth and Valcor would both face consequences. The Emperor turned slowly to Orion and Celera. His voice low, filled with weight. The galaxy is watching, he said. And the next decision will change everything. The fate of two worlds now hung on what they chose next. And neither Orion nor Celera planned to step back. The alarms ringing through the throne chamber echoed like rolling thunder. Every guard stood tense, every advisor whispered in panic, and every diplomat watched the holographic transmission flickering above the center of the hall. The Council of Seven appeared, their faces twisted with anger, eyes filled with cold political threat. They were the most powerful alliance in the galaxy, and they had never allowed Earth to rise. To them, humans were still a small species, too bold, too fast-growing, too unpredictable. And now a human had won a royal marriage challenge designed to break even elite warriors. The leading council member, High Chancellor Drivas, leaned forward. His voice was sharp like shattered glass. Valcor, he growled, this marriage cannot be accepted. A human cannot be allowed into the royal bloodline. It threatens the balance of power. It threatens the order of the galaxy. The Emperor's eyes narrowed as he faced the hologram. Drivas, the human earned his place by tradition, he replied. The trials were open to all, and none but he succeeded. But the Chancellor slammed his metallic fist on the table, shaking the transmission. Then your tradition is a mistake, he spat. We demand the human be removed, or we will consider Valcor in violation of intergalactic stability. The entire hall froze. This was not a warning, it was a threat of war. Princess Celera stepped forward before the Emperor could answer. Her tall frame radiated power, her silver markings glowing brighter with each breath. You speak of balance, she said, her voice ringing through the chamber. But you fear a single human. You fear courage. You fear that one man succeeded where your entire alliance failed. Her words struck the council like a blade. Even Orion felt the weight of her voice. It was the voice of a warrior who had never bowed to anyone except her own honor. Chancellor Drivas hissed. You will remain silent, princess. But Celera stepped closer to the hologram, her eyes blazing like twin suns. I will not, she answered. This human showed more honor in one day than your alliance has shown in generations. You fear him not because he is human. You fear him because he showed that strength is not limited to the old empires. The council members murmured angrily. But Orion raised his hand gently, stepping beside Celera. His voice was calm, steady, the voice of someone who knew war but did not seek it. I did not fight the trials to begin a conflict, he said. I do not want to bring war to your worlds. But I will not apologize for surviving. The hall fell silent at his words. Even the Emperor felt a strange pride rising inside him. But the council was unyielding. Drivas glared at the Emperor and declared. Choose. Reject the human, or face the consequences. The Emperor closed his eyes for a moment, weighing hundreds of years of politics, alliances, and consequences. But before he could speak, Celera placed her hand on his arm. A simple gesture, but powerful. Father, she said quietly, you taught me that a leader must choose what is right, not what is safe. When he opened his eyes again, they were steady. Chancellor Drivas, he said, Valcor chooses honor. We stand with the human. Gasps filled the room. The council erupted in rage, banging their fists and shouting threats. The transmission cut abruptly, leaving only cold static behind. The Emperor turned to Orion with a heavy breath. You have not just earned the right to marry my daughter, he said. You have earned a place in our future. Celira stepped closer to Orion, her expression softer than ever before. "You changed the fate of my world," she whispered. "And maybe, you changed mine." For the first time since the trials began, Orion felt his heartbeat quicken. Not from fear, not from battle, but from the unexpected warmth in her eyes. He spoke gently. "I did what I believed was right." Celira's voice lowered, calm yet filled with emotion. "And I choose you, human." The words hit the hall like a shockwave. Guards straightened, advisors whispered urgently, and the Emperor nodded slowly, accepting the new reality. Orion bowed his head slightly, a sign of respect but not submission. "I will stand with Valcor," he said. "And I will stand with you." Before anyone could speak further, a deep rumble echoed through the castle walls. Ships were arriving, massive, dark silhouettes appearing in the sky above Valcor. The Council of Seven had sent their fleets. They were moving faster than expected, prepared for intimidation, maybe even battle. The Emperor looked to Orion. "Human," he said, "the galaxy now sees you as a symbol. A symbol of courage. A symbol of change." Celira stepped beside him. "If the Council starts a war," she said firmly, "we will face it together." Orion stood between them, looking at the sky filled with warships. His voice calm, strong, unshaken. "Then let the galaxy witness something new," he said. "Humans do not run. And Valcor does not bow." Celira touched his shoulder gently. A sign of trust, a silent promise. The chamber lights reflected in her silver eyes as she whispered. "Whatever comes next, you face it with me." Orion nodded. His voice low but certain. "Together." And as the fleets gathered above the planet and the galaxy moved toward a new era, one truth echoed through every world and every empire. A single human had changed everything.